Got the spinning wheel. There we go. Let's bring everybody up online before we're going. And hopefully my internet is going to be a part of the solution today, or helping out. You never know. Sometimes I think the mother-in-law and the wife are streaming something right now, which is never great. But that's okay. The dog's being quiet, so that's great. Everyone, welcome him in. Tuesday night, Building the Broncos. I am Nick Kendell, and here with my good friend and co-host, and last show for a little bit, Carl Dumler. Carl, welcome. Good to see you. Hello, goodbye. I guess coming on here, aloha, as Scott would like to say. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Getting a little nervous about my trip and being gone here for a little while, and a little nervous as the NFL goes. If you're not playing, that backup might take your spot. You might like your co-host a little more than me, so I'm a little nervous what's going to happen when I come back. But no, I am. I'm excited for tonight, and it is just always look forward to this. Getting the chance to talk with you, talk with the chat, everybody. It's just an awesome time and always a relaxing thing to do. And lots of news coming out today, obviously. 53-man roster getting kind of set. It's getting there. There's a few things they're going to do to tweak it, obviously. But a couple moves that were made overnight. There's just so much information. So it's going to be a fun show today, buddy.
Yeah, still trying to process everything. But before we get into all the matters of business here, Diamond Rattler's in the house. Boom, let's go. Thank you very much, Diamond. Good to see you. Andrew Morrow's in the house. Go Broncos. Dylan Von Arx is in the house saying, "Sup, Broncos country." Important message here from Dylan, too. Make sure to hit that like button on the way in. I see Daniel, Richard, Gary, and Johnny Dean coming in here with the likes over on Facebook. Make sure you guys keep that coming. We got orange-colored glasses rocking here, saying, "Hey, Broncos country from Northern California. Can't wait for the season to start." Same here. George is in the house, too. George is a little bit angry sounding right now. Ridiculous that this front office and coaching staff has let this organization become what it has. The quarterback situation would never have happened if the team had a dedicated owner. Fangio and Shermer should go. So George is obviously frustrated. Hopefully we can talk you off the ledge there, George. But I mean, I get it, man. I get it. There's definitely reason to be frustrated, but there's also reason for optimism.
Right.
J.I. in the house saying, "I feel you, George, head scratching front office, but I still love my team." Amen there. Dalton's in the house. Hello, Mike Woodward. Zero Fox given. How's it? I like how's it. I don't know where that's coming from. No, Cleve. I love my mother-in-law. I really do. Denver Bronco fan for life. Good to be a part of Broncos country. Good to see Nick and Carl. Hello from Paul. Carl, make sure you say hello to Paul.
Yes, Paul. I love you, man, and always love seeing you in this chat. It warms my heart every single time.
Paul's great. Nazardine's in the house. King of Lions. Paul Ware. Mark Lindman. Alvin Thomas Jr. Danny Trillo. Do you think if we kept any undrafted players, if it's not, there it goes. If it's not a exclamation point ST, if it's not a first. They kept and Andre Mintz for now. Now that's subject to change based on what could happen. It could be a strategy right now where they're keeping him so he's not on waivers, and then they release him and bring him on the practice squad. So it's kind of like protecting him, so to speak. But we'll get into that for sure. Thank you so much, Danny. Connor coming in here saying, "Been listening to this pod for years. I think this is the first time I actually caught it live." Well, Connor, I don't recognize your name, but thank you for the support. Awesome. We love you, man. Good to have you in here live. Jim Hilton's in here saying, "Hit the thumbs up. Great to see." Mo Ron, evening, Nick and Carl. Great to see. D Brown saying, "I can't believe people are still crying about the damn quarterback situation." D, the beatings are going to continue until morale improves. And until the Broncos have a franchise quarterback, unfortunately, and we know we have one, this is probably going to be some of the discourse in here. But, we'll just keep on keeping on. Stu Meat coming in with a how's it. I'm enjoying this how's it. Somebody's got to let me know what's up with this. What's going on here, but good to see. We also got Andrew Morrow coming in with a $5 super, kicking us off here. Andrew, God bless you. Hey guys, we're gonna watch later tonight. I look forward to a great show. Cheers to you, to Andrew. We love you. Ernie Mays is in the house too. Good to see you, man. We got Stu Meat also. I love Stu. Cute kid. Cute picture there with the super sticker. Maybe a producer will pull up the sticker there so we know what it is, but I'm going to pretend it is Teddy Bridgewater holding the Lombardi trophy. God bless. Mark's in the house too. Victor Rios, what happened to Broncos for breakfast? Well, it's my second favorite show. Good afternoon. Broncos for breakfast will be live tomorrow. I was coming back from the Olympic coast and needed to make sure we got in there. And Nick, we threw off your morning. You guys get it tomorrow morning. So be blessed. It's going to be a good time. Austin's in the house. Jay Skills is in the house. Ryan Yazzy's in the house. Ryan, I agree with you. Hey guys, can't wait till the start of the season. And here's that super sticker coming in. Oh, yeah, super sticker coming in here with the sunglasses smile. Loving it. Loving you, Stu. Thank you so much. Every little bit helps. There we go. And yeah, Nick is cheating on Scott with Mother Nature. The only person who won't cheat on with Mother Nature is my wife. That's the only one. But hopefully we're both cheating, or not cheating, but we're both there together in Mother Nature. Man, that could take a real awkward turn. Let's keep going. Vincent coming in here. Vincent Pawlowski. This defense better be good because the average starting position of the opposing offense with our territory due to the special teams coaching job by Fangio's best friend. Carl, I want to hear what you have to say here about Vincent's very generous $25 super chat. Thank you so much, Vincent.
Yeah. Let me say, just like Nick said, thank you, Vincent. That's great. And you are not wrong. I can't believe that they kept their special teams coordinator. I can't believe we're seeing the exact same thing that we've seen before. It's when it's keeps showing up, different players, yet the same thing keeps happening over and over again. You got to be able to look within as a coach and say, this has got to be on me. And so far, he has not done that. He has not made changes. And the Broncos tried to add even some more players here today, trading for a linebacker from the 49ers. It's supposed to be really good on special teams, and hopefully it helps a little bit. But even the best players can't make up for a bad scheme. And that's what we're seeing so far. And just have to hope that this is not the Achilles heel that just really destroys this season.
Yeah, the Broncos traded for Jonas Griffin, who was a special teams standout at linebacker. We're going to definitely be getting into that here, but thank you so much for the comment there, Vincent. Mike, I'm sorry you woke up at 6 a.m. Boss man Chad put out there that we were going to be going live Wednesday from the Mile High Huddle account. So we need to get a Broncos for Breakfast Twitter account probably going, so that way you guys can get your information there. But guys, we are approaching our goal of 500,000 stars. God, all of you guys are the 500,000 stars. To get a Von Miller jersey. We're getting so close, 90% completed. So once we get to there, we're going to raffle off a Von Miller jersey. Every single star you guys get in there is essentially like a raffle ticket. So if you guys, you don't have to be number one. Obviously, you get the best chance if you're number one. And we got a new leader in the house here, Randy Jones. Randy coming in here. Good to see Randy. Then it's followed closely by Stu McPeak, Andrew Lamping coming in number 3. There we see the star count there. Howie freaking Day coming in here. Randy Jones up with the 59,000. Goodness, Randy. God bless. Howie freaking Day in the house. Andrew Lampy, Michael Ronquillo, Travis Weber, good friend of mine. Travis, good to see. Simon Weeby, Travis Tarbox, obviously the top 8. Gary Leeds Palmer and Andrew Baker. So top 10. Sean Miller. We're continuing the scroll. Butch, also Claude Riley, Brian Bowman, rocking the Teddy picture there, and good friend of the show, Peter Middleton, coming in from Cambodia. So thank you guys so much. Like I said, get those stars in if you're joining us on Facebook today. It helps us a lot, and also it can help you win a chance to win a Von Miller jersey, as well as we're keeping it close to the vest for now, but some Mile High Huddle gift as well. So you guys are not going to want to miss out on that. Get the stars in, and we can get to that. Also, guys, matters of business. Obviously, this is Building the Broncos. Every Tuesday night, we're going to be having Carl's going to be a little bit of a sabbatical here, taking care of business abroad, I guess, literally abroad. But you guys can, we'll be still going live Tuesday. You can find Carl and myself on Twitter, Carl at Carl Dumler MHH, myself at Nick Kendell MHH. While you guys are over there, follow us at BTB Football Pod, as well as at Mile High Huddle. Facebook folks, make sure you're clicking the thumbs up. We got the likes, everything coming in here. Angry react from Terry Rigg. You know what? I don't even care. I like the diversity of the reactions here. So Terry coming in with the angry, but make sure you guys are giving us the thumbs up, everything on Facebook. While you're over there, follow us at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle, as well as facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. And YouTube folks, not going to forget about you. You guys are the bread and butter of the show. We love all of you, but YouTube's probably been one of the more helpful ones. If you guys are on YouTube though, and giving the super chats, everything like that's helpful. But if you can't do that, if you're not in a position to donate, make sure that you subscribe, like, and share on YouTube. And there's a lot of good content out there in the Broncos sphere, but we like to think we're number one. And if you guys agree with that, or even like us, number 2, number 3, I don't care, whatever, just still like, subscribe, and share. There's no such thing as enough good Broncos content. Okay, Carl, let me catch my breath. Oh man.
Okay. Let me get to a couple comments here while you catch your breath.
Let's do it.
We got Zero Fox Given talking about the Facebook list. How do you get on that list? Well, you go to one of our Facebook Live videos that's going on right now, and there's a section there in the comments that has a little star next to it. So that's where you can give that donation to be able to get onto the stars list. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, I know you're on YouTube, Zero Fox Given, but anybody that wants to switch over to Facebook, and then you can switch right back to YouTube. But just want to make sure you guys get every chance you possibly can to go get that jersey. I'm taking a bunch of clothes overseas. I had to make sure to get my Von Miller jersey into my bag. So every Sunday, that's what I'm going to be wearing watching the Broncos. And I hope one of you is wearing the same thing as I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, if my camera is fuzzy, it's because I'm too ugly to have high resolution going on here. It's probably because I shaved my face, honestly, is what's going on. It says I have solid connection, but we'll see. Hopefully, is my audio coming through?
Yeah, you're good on that end, at least.
A face for radio. That's what they say. So, Carl, let's get into it. Big news today. Broncos officially get down to the 53-man roster. Nothing too crazy, I think, as far as the information that's come out about who they have right now. But I think, number one, everyone pour one out. Broncos, best winning percentage ever for a quarterback, Brett Rippon. I think let's just start on the quarterbacks on our way down. Brett Rippon era. Brett, we hardly knew ye. Practice squad, do you think, or you think he's going to be joining his man Rick Scangarello in San Francisco here?
I would think they'd want him on practice squad because, I mean, you're always one injury away from being really scary at the quarterback position. And having a guy that's been working on this scheme for 2 years, probably better than anybody you can go get off the street. I've seen a couple people ask us about Cam Newton. He's going to run into a major problem. He probably doesn't want to go somewhere and be a backup, but most teams are pretty much set at starter. And he's going to take time to have to learn a system. He's just at the worst possible time. 3 weeks ago, if Cam was cut, I'd be sitting there saying, hey, yeah, go ahead and take a chance, see what he's got. Because he showed a little bit of promise at times last year and was really looking pretty decent this training camp. But yeah, I don't think there's any chance for him to come to the Broncos. And so, yeah, if you can keep Brett Rippon on the practice squad, I would take that.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We've always said on here that we thought Brett's future was in coaching because he's known of being such a smart kid. I think he's also a coach's son. I know that's a cliche. Sometimes they just throw it out there for, the scrappy small white player who doesn't have the physical tools. Oh, he's the coach's kid first in the locker room, whatever. I think he literally is a coach's son.
Yeah.
But he's got a future somewhere, probably being a coach in this league. I mean, not to be too cliche here, not to scout. We hate scouting helmet just because a guy went to Ohio State, one quarterback. Justin Fields isn't going to be Terrell Pryor because they went to Ohio State.
Right.
But Kellen Moore, I think that's probably the path for Brett Rippon. And I know they're both Boise State guys, but executing that offense, and I think that's probably where you see Brett, 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. And like I said, he knows the system, so easy player to put on the practice squad, keep him around. He's well-liked in the building. There's just not a whole lot of downside other than he just doesn't offer a whole lot of upside. That's about your only downside with him as a player. And so keeping him around, he would make one of my practice squad spots if he doesn't get picked up by somebody else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see a lot of people talking about Cam Newton right now. I'm not sure. I got to dance around this with very specific wording so we don't get flagged here. But there is something that it seems like Cam Newton has not done that might make him a liability to your team, that might keep him from being signed, which could cause issues later on due to things that are happening in the world right now. And it sounds like that had something to do with Cam Newton being moved on from by the Patriots as well. So until that is, I guess there's some sort of resolution there. I don't know if we'll see Cam be signed. I definitely don't think it's going to be the Broncos. Would I have a lot of fun with Cam in Denver running, just literally having him as like a red zone quarterback? So you have a power quarterback option in the red zone or in goal to go situations. Absolutely. That would be fun. Yep. But that's, I'm turning the Xbox off here right now because that's make believe video game stuff going on for how far we are. It's Teddy and
right. Yep. No, that's exactly it. And first time the Broncos have kept only 2 quarterbacks in quite a while. So kind of an interesting choice there. I think it was Vic Fangio or George Payton talking about that today, that was one of their tougher decisions, was whether to keep 3 quarterbacks or not. And I'm glad they didn't, because the depth at some other positions, I'm glad that they were able to keep some guys for those other spots.
Yep. I agree with you 100%. So moving on now, 4 running backs kept: Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, Royce Freeman, and Mike Boone. It does sound like Mike Boone is going to be put on the, I don't know the proper terminology because they've changed it, the short-term IR.
Short-term IR.
Short-term IR, which would probably have him back week 4, I believe. So he's somebody who, Royce Freeman, also shout out to Royce. We've been hard on him on this show, probably because didn't love him as a draft prospect, and he went one pick after the guy I wanted, Fred Warner, who's now the highest paid linebacker in football. But Royce looked good in this preseason, I thought, overall. And he made the team. Is it going to be the whole season, or is it going to be until Mike Boone is back? We will see, because Royce does not bring that much in terms of special teams. But those four made the team, and it sounds like they'd like to bring Crockett back. Demaria Crockett, I believe is how you pronounce the first name, back to the practice squad, maybe. But those four, I guess it was a shock that Royce made it. But once Mike Boone got injured, felt like writing was on the wall.
Right. Yeah. You can't go into the season with just two running backs. That is a position that is typically gets beat up quite a bit. Yeah. Little nicks here and there. It doesn't take much for a guy to sit for a couple games. Even Melvin Gordon has been banged up this training camp. I think they were just being a little bit more cautious than anything else, but he did have a groin injury there. So it really doesn't take much to all of a sudden be down to one running back and going, what are we going to do? I mean, last year, this is obviously a pretty crazy situation. Broncos lost all their quarterbacks and had to start Hall of Fame Kendall Hinton. I mean, they cut a Hall of Fame quarterback today. Oh man, that's kind of crazy to say, but no, it's one of those. You want to make sure you have at least three guys on the roster, and probably a fourth one on the practice squad if you can. Mike Boone go on that 3 week short-term IR, come back. We'll see on Royce Freeman. I would probably keep Royce Freeman around though, just because I think he looked probably his best he's looked here in this preseason. And I think he does have some value, especially third down running back. I don't think he'd be active, but just in case one of those other guys goes down, you still have that guy that you can just bring in at any point.
Yeah, especially with how heavily the Broncos are going to lean on the running game this season. So it seems, obviously things can change, but you need to have competent running backs. You don't need the Devin Booker running into their Devin Booker. Devontae Booker, Devin Booker's basketball player, running into the back of the offensive line, 1 yard gain kind of thing. Now moving on to the wide receivers, we got some comments coming in. The guys are ahead of us in the wide receivers. Keith Brugman coming in here. Thank you, Keith, for the comment over on Facebook. With the cuts in the wide receiver room, do you see any possibility of bringing in an outside wide receiver / kick returner, or are we just resigning cuts to the practice squad? Some more questions here from Malachi Martin. Yeah, why only have 5 wide receivers? CC keeping 4 receivers on the roster is very interesting to me. Don't like it. And DB fan for life come in and say we'll be acquiring it. Oh, I thought it was a wide receiver comment there. I thought there was another one. But either way, we have comments from, I think it was George Payton today, said that the Broncos would be looking to bring in, I don't have it directly pulled up in front of me, but I think he said they're looking to bring in maybe 3 wide receivers still, which I think is very interesting. It also speaks to, I think it speaks again to special teams and how little Tyree and Seth Williams were, I guess, impressing them on special teams. But watch out for the Broncos to make some waiver claims. I think Peyton also emphasized the Broncos have the 9th waiver wire spot, same as the draft pick. And they are probably going to be active when it comes to the waiver wire. Wide receiver is probably the position they're going to be the most active at. Not so much, though, for the actual offensive side of the ball. I'm guessing it's almost entirely focused with special teams in mind.
Yeah, you're right. The back end receivers are always your special teams guys at that position. And I do think the other thing, you might see one of Seth Williams or Cleveland brought back. Mm-hmm. I think they thought, hey, if we cut these guys, nobody else wants them.
Yep.
Unfortunately, when we're talking about all these cuts that get made, the wide receiver group is probably the group that has the most players hit the market. And there might be 1 or 2 that get picked up somewhere else. And again, it's all for special teams. Mm-hmm. And so I think the Broncos felt very comfortable that Seth Williams and Tyree Cleveland would be available if they really wanted to bring them back once they do these guys on short-term IR to start the season. So even though they're down to 5, I know a lot of people kind of panicked about that, of all of a sudden going from this wide receiver room that looked really deep and going, oh my gosh, I thought we were going to keep 7. Now we're at 5, and really it's only 4, with one of them being a special teams returner. That's going to change, and that's always the tough part about this. I know a lot of people kind of panic at the original 53. I always say, hold your horses. Wait till the final product is done. Then let's start evaluating and seeing what we've got. I mean, we can evaluate the 53 players for sure, but it's not a done, finished product by any means. There's so much that goes into this. You talked about or hinted at it earlier. Sometimes you keep a player and then let everybody else get their 53-man roster set, and then you cut them, and everybody's already got everything set, and then you have a better chance of getting him on your practice squad.
Yeah.
Where if you'd cut him right off the bat, he might have gotten scooped up. And some players they keep on the 53-man roster are not guys that they think are actually the top 53 guys, but because they think this guy might get picked up by somebody. So, like I said, just keep all that in mind as we're talking about this.
Absolutely. And Black Knight coming in over on Twitch. Thank you very much for the comment here, Black Knight over on Twitch. Says, if you could reverse time, would you still draft Locke or try to get Tua? I think you're talking about the wrong quarterback there. If I could reverse time, I would get my ducks in a row and go up and get Justin Herbert, who went, sixth overall, seventh overall, when the Broncos had the 15th pick. You have a lot of capital that season. You probably go up and get Justin Herbert because he looks far and away like the best quarterback of that draft class right now. Granted, very small sample size. I know, but I mean, he looks legit.
Yeah. Obviously, hindsight's always 2020, and it would be nice to reverse. And, Mac Jones has looked good in this preseason. Justin Fields has looked good in this preseason. And I mean, I know Patrick Surtain has looked good too. I mean, I'm not trying to take
amazing.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take anything away from them. You can be upset about them not taking a quarterback and still be happy that they have Patrick Surtain at the same time. It doesn't have to be an either or situation. You can like both kind of players. Yep. But yeah, I mean, hindsight, it's tough to see. We'll see what they do next year with the quarterback position because yes, I doubt Teddy is their starter next year unless he just really balls out. Block, maybe he takes that next step and really grows over the offseason, learning from a veteran quarterback like Bridgewater. There's still some scenarios where one of those two guys is your starter, but very good chance we have a new starter next season.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. But we'll see, man. One game at a time. And Paul coming in here with the right comment. John Elway loved Justin Herbert, and I think it's kind of sent some waves through Broncos country and Dove Valley. When Herbert decided to return for his senior year, Broncos had, the 10th overall pick that year.
Yep.
If Herbert did not stay, comment from R. Powell, for his senior year, we would have got him. I actually think that's reality. Yep. I think the Broncos were really, really like Justin Herbert, and they would have gone up and gotten him. But what can you do? And Malachi coming in. So wasn't Elway scouting him heavily before he decided to return to school? Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So is what it is. You can't rewrite history. If I could rewrite history, the last 10 years, I'd have the Broncos not take Paxton Lynch that one year, take Chris Jones, be in the line for a quarterback in 2017, and go get Patrick Mahomes. But again, here we are. Broncos had some really great years with the quarterback. It's a salary cap league. You're going to have some lulls, unfortunately. Here we go. Clifton Harris. Locke had a better chance than Rosen. He did. I think he's more talented than Rosen too, though. So let's get to keep going there. What do you think about the Broncos only keeping 5 receivers? Are you surprised to see Tim Patrick still on this team, not traded, and also keeping Deontay Spencer, who is a bit, limited in what he can do? Also, shout out to Michael Ronquillo. I see him coming in here. Good evening, Nick and Carl. Good evening, Greg Smith. He loves Greg and Broncos country. Go Broncos. Michael Ronquillo, I think 5th overall in the star count right now. So shout out to Michael.
Yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me. I thought that they would try to get a trade done. I thought it would be Tim Patrick that they're trading. Now with Trinity Benson gone, I can't see them wanting to take any offers on Tim Patrick unless it's an offer that just blows them away because of how much they want to play 3 wide. Plus you have Sutton coming off injury. Hamler gets banged up at least a couple times a season. So you want at least 4 good receivers in that situation. But I like what they got for Trinity Benson. I mean, he would have been a contributor this year, but still to get a 5th round pick for a guy that was going to be your number 5 wide receiver on your team. I mean, they got more value for him than the Jaguars got for Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
And Minshew is much more valuable in my opinion, just because he plays the quarterback position. Benson is good and I'm glad where he's going. He's going to get a great opportunity. And I'm not surprised at them cutting the other guys. Tyree Cleveland had a training camp to forget. Just drops galore, wasn't doing all that great on special teams. Seth Williams had the one great play during preseason. Had a couple plays during training camp, but easy to see he needs a year. And his style of wide receiver, it's tough for them to really make a name for themselves in the NFL. There's a few of them, and they are absolutely outstanding. But guys that can't quite separate, especially rookie seasons, struggle because the route running is not great. Yep.
No, absolutely. It's a good comment. I do want to shout out one name I have heard connected to the Broncos that they were watching for at wide receiver. If there is a waiver wire cut, is the name Cornell Powell. with the Kansas City Chiefs, who's a special teams contributor. He actually did end up being released by the Kansas City Chiefs. So watch out for that name. I think he is one that maybe the Broncos could bring on here, from what I've heard. So keep an eye on Cornell Powell in that front, specifically special teams. Now moving on to offensive line. Oh, actually, Seth Williams, Tyree Cleveland, practice squad, likely. Do you think they get gobbled up, or do you think we saw so little? There's so many wide receivers that you feel pretty good about those guys going to practice squad.
I feel very good that they're going to make it through waivers, and the Broncos will have them back on practice squad.
Yep, absolutely. We got a question coming in here from our Powell again, saying, I saw a mock draft yesterday. Said the Broncos are going to take quarterback from Nevada, Carson Strong. Have you guys heard anything about him? Carl, you know that I was decently big on Carson Strong pretty early in the process. I would say November last year, December, saying like we're getting a lot of Mac Jones hype. Rightfully so. Looks like I'm going to eat maybe not crow, but like pigeon maybe for Mac Jones, because quarterback without elite tools, I kind of am skeptical of taking in the top 10 based on the information we can gather from here. But he's looking really good. But Carson Strong, I thought that he deserved to be in the conversation right there with the Mac Jones. Not really a great athlete. He's fine as an athlete. Kid's got a great arm though, and he's going to put up plenty of stats this year for Nevada, running that offense. I'm excited to watch him. I think he's got a chance to go number 1 overall. I don't think he's as talented as Rattler, but like he's a quarterback. He's got arm talent.
Yep.
He's going to produce. Definitely an outside shot. Like I wish I knew what the Vegas odds were right now, because if he was like outside of the top 5, I might throw down some money.
Yeah. And especially if Mac Jones goes out there and plays pretty well this year.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people that are looking at the limited athletic quarterbacks and saying, hey, I think we can make this guy work. And here's what I'll say about those guys like Mac Jones, and really any quarterback. Where they go matters. Like they could be the most talented quarterback in that's hit the draft in a long time. And if they don't have the right team, scheme, coaches around them, there's a good chance they could still fail. I still say David Carr could have been a star in the NFL if he didn't go to Houston right as they became a brand new team.
Yeah.
But no, Carson Strong, he's a good quarterback. He's got a stronger arm than I think Mac Jones did coming out by far. He can hit every single level. That's what you love to see about those guys that can't move out of the pocket, that at least they can do short, medium, and long and do it well. And he's still got to clean up a few things, but he's got high volume throws. He's got a lot of playmakers around him. Like I said, he's going to put up a lot of big stats. He's going to have a lot of people talking this year. And I just like him. If the Broncos pick him up, I'm going to be happy about that kind of decision.
He's probably my 3rd favorite quarterback in next year's class right now. But let's keep on the roster here. I know some people are like, oh my God, mock drafts already. I'm already bored to death about talking about quarterbacks. We'll pivot back. Andrew Baker coming in saying, just showing some love. #MHH for life. #Denver Broncos for life. What's our biggest weakness other than quarterback? Carl, I'll kick it to you. Okay, actually, easy one. Special teams. It's still special teams, but other than quarterback and special teams.
I would say a little bit of maybe offensive line depth a little bit.
Wow, Charlie. Charlie says coaching.
Well, not the worst comment there by any means. Yeah, I would say I'd have to be offensive line depth there a little bit. Like Quinn Miners, he's just not ready this year. Moody, very up and down throughout the preseason there. Some highlight blocks, some very low light blocks as well. So just a little bit nervous about some of those interior guys if one of them goes down. Offensive tackle, I'm not as worried if one of them goes down, but if 2 of them go down, Broncos are, any team would be in trouble at that point. Yeah. But even there, I'm a little worried about Massey at right tackle. He's not going to be the greatest guy out there. He's not going to be the worst right tackle the Broncos have put out there either. Calvin Anderson, he's shown pretty decent work, but I've still seen him make some mistakes throughout this preseason as well. Garrett Bowles hasn't been as strong as I would like to see him for being that guy that you just gave a big contract to. He's just working out some bugs. I'm not too worried about him, but just a little bit of that offensive line and how that's going to work this year.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. I think for me, it's a little nuanced, but it's because the quarterback position itself is probably capped. Either way, either guy, Drew Lock, where I know everyone's like, Tabers are low ceiling. Both these guys probably are capped for the offense. Just given what we've seen. And I think this Broncos offensive line can be competent this season, but it needs to be better than competent to have this team go to where we hope they can go. They need to be able to take it to opposing front sevens and protect the quarterback pretty consistently and dictate on offense, especially when they're rushing the football. And I don't know if the interior right now has enough of, I'll just say ass kickers right now. I feel like they're a little bit more finesse on that interior, which, I mean, they're solid, but I'm looking for a little bit more earth movement there, blasting open some holes for the running backs and also right tackle. I think Bobby Massey's fine. There was a reason he was available though when he was also, you can find a Bobby Massey every single year in free agency. The Broncos have continually found those types, I guess. Well, hopefully Bobby Massey will be better, but maybe like a Jared Valdir type is what you're hoping for. But I agree with you. And it's not because the offensive line is putrid, terrible, horrible, not good. But if you have a franchise quarterback, you can probably get away with just a competent offensive line. But we're not sure that's where the Broncos are right now. They need to be probably top 12, top 10 if you're hoping this team is pushing beyond wild card week. Right. And that's what we're all hoping. We want to make the playoffs, but we want to win a playoff game as well.
Right. I like this comment or this question here, and I wanted to get this one to you. Our mistakes at offensive line last year were deadly, like missed assignments where defensive backs come flying through. Is that on coaching or personnel?
It's probably both, but from what I guess some of these people are coaching connections, but from what I've heard, it sounds like a lot of it was miscommunication between a quarterback who is struggling with pre-snap line checks and a rookie center. Right. A lot of that stuff goes on just how young the offense was and the offensive line in general. So hopefully that'll be better this year with Teddy. And also the Broncos had to simplify. I mean, there was a lot of quotes around, I think it was the Senior Bowl, where like the Broncos had to dumb down the playbook. And then all of a sudden the Broncos offense started to function better because they didn't put as much mentally on the quarterback. So that's both, right? Chicken or egg. It's partially both. They had to have it more simple for that quarterback to succeed at that point. So probably chicken or egg there.
Yeah, you're right. And I can't remember who I heard say it, but it is really rung true. You can have a young quarterback and a veteran center, or a young center and a veteran quarterback. You can't have a young quarterback and a young center and expect good things to happen on offense. You know, that's why I don't love it because the Chargers, but I thought they made one of the best moves this offseason going and getting Lindsley for their young quarterback. That's going to help him beyond any kind of weapon that they could have added to that offense, just because he's going to get everybody on the right page. And I do think this is a really big reason that Teddy Bridgewater won the quarterback job. I don't think that he outplayed Drew Lock by any means in training camp or in the preseason. Drew Lock had his fumbles. That is a concern. But I think Teddy, just making everybody feel like they're on the same page. You saw he did well of going up and down that line, talking to everybody, showing, hey, this is where the blitz is coming from. You know, these are the way that they're going to rotate. You know, just he made everybody feel better about the play from the get-go. And so that's why, again, I say that I think that's what got Teddy the job this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot that goes into it. But Drew Lock's don't count him out yet, right? He's not been traded. He's on this team. He's going to get a shot. I hope he's ready when it happens. DBA comes in saying, I think the Broncos have a better chance at another top 10 pick than winning the Super Bowl this year. And I'm just going to say, in general, that's probably true every year because you have 10 teams picking in the top team. You have one team, 1 out of 32 winning the Super Bowl. So probably safe bet there, DBA. I think that it's more likely the Broncos? A better question is the Broncos making the playoffs versus a top 10 pick. Maybe this is my heart talking. I do think they have a better chance of making the playoffs this year than a top 10 pick, but there's been a lot of roster turnover and things we'll find out pretty quickly, I guess, how they start this year. They have to start off like 3-1, given how soft it's the NFL. Every game's tough, but how soft those games are compared to the rest of the year. So you're probably right with that, DBA, but I think that's just a simple math there when you're talking about odds of top 10 versus the one team to win the Super Bowl.
Right. Exactly. I mean, there's so many things that have to go right for a team to win the Super Bowl, even if you have the best quarterback, have a great team around them. You know, injuries happen. The Colts back in 2011 thought they had Super Bowl aspirations, and then Peyton Manning misses the season, and they have the number 1 overall pick. Yeah. So it doesn't take much for things to fall apart.
Yep. And Tyler Rogers coming in here over on YouTube saying the Giants game could be a trap game. God, I hope not. What have the Broncos done to earn anything to be a trap game week 1? This game, I think right now the Broncos are favored by 2.5, maybe. I don't. I think one of these teams is favored by 2.5, but either way, that game to me feels like a coin toss. There is no way that the Broncos should be overlooking the Giants or anything. They need to go into that game thinking it's a one and done game, right? Like if you lose, your season's over. You cannot start off 0-1. You have to go in there and beat the Giants. Vic Fangio needs to have that mindset where it's like, this is a playoff game. And if not, we're eliminated. So go out there and win.
No, you're right. He hasn't won a game in September in 2 seasons. Coming into his 3rd year now, got to start off better than what you've been doing. And I like what they've been showing in preseason, obviously. And it's nice. Most guys are pretty healthy at this point. And so I do think they stand a really good chance. The Giants do look a little bit in disarray. I mean, I know preseason is preseason, but they're losing a lot of individual matchups. Andrew Thomas looked terrible in that last game. Left side of their offensive line.
Shane Lemieux's injured. He's going to play through injury this year. Woof.
Good luck.
Gears Gains Games coming in here over on YouTube, flexing there. Nice gains, Gears Gains Games. What's the over under on the wins for our fan base to actually support Teddy? It really depends on how they win too, right? Like there needs to be a little bit of nuance. Like the Broncos are out there winning because the defense is like 2015 and Teddy Bridgewater's out there doing arm punts like Peyton Manning was some of 2015. That Chiefs game in particular sticks in my head. The one in Denver. Then it could get ugly and you'd see some cheers for Drew. But like I say, the Broncos are just competent. The defense is suffocating the run games, punching people in the mouth. And the Broncos are like, 4-1 or like 6-2, 6-3. I think you're going to have people excited about football, meaningful football after Thanksgiving, after Halloween, which it's been a bit for that. So I think it depends on how it looks, but I'll go, it's so hard to say, right? Because if you say over or under wins, it could be 4 wins, but they already have 6 losses, So like, I think they need to be like 3-1 in the first 4 games, and then you're going to see people jump on.
Yeah, I'd agree. If they start off looking pretty decent, I think he could win the team or win the fans over in 4 games. I really do. If they are actually dominating, if they're winning by a couple touchdowns or by 10 points, and the offense is scoring 24 or more points per game in those 4 games, and defense is doing what they're doing, I think fans will come around real quick at that point because you're going, hey, it's nice to actually be cheering for a team that isn't 0-4 when they leave September. So that's kind of where I'm at. All right, we got a quick update on the stars from just today. I know we've had some people say, hey, my name is always I've given all these stars. I'm not up there. But no, this is just from today. We have Michael Ronquillo coming in with 1,000 stars. Gary Leeds Palmer with 500. Andrew Baker with 200. Travis Tarbucks with 200. And Steve Lazuski with 50 stars. Really appreciate that from each and every one of you. You guys are the true stars. And just make this show so much more. I was thinking about that today with getting ready to take this little bit of break, that, you and I have been doing this for a very long time.
5 years?
5 years? Since Paxton Lynch.
Oh my God.
So so it's been quite the ride. And you guys have made it that much more as we get, from where we started to where we are today, man. It is so cool to see.
Yeah, really it is. So shout out to you guys. It's a lot of fun. It's a really lot of fun. Shout out to you, Carl. Well, I'll miss you when you're gone. Just showing love. Andrew Baker. We got that one already, boss man, but thank you. Chase Wellner coming in here saying, would Jonathan Cooper be a day 2 pick in a redraft? This is an interesting question, Carl. I'm going to go with no. I think that because obviously he's played well, but the heart enlargement requiring surgery is enough of a scare where I do think that he probably would have been like one of the top 15 picks in day 3 of the draft, like round 4. But I think that heart concern is still prevalent enough where, it's going to probably take him off a lot of teams' boards also, even though he's looked really well. So I think no to the day 2 pick, even if he looks good. Maybe that'll look foolish 5 years from now where Jonathan Cooper's the air incumbent to Von Miller and killing it out there because he's been incredible in preseason. Honestly, he's been my favorite player to watch so far in preseason. I don't know if that's I've been like, Broncos edge rusher 2022 draft, if not quarterback, edge rusher 2022 draft. I still am on that train because I need to see it in real bullets,
right?
When the bullets are flying live. But Cooper making me think like, okay, if the Broncos worst case scenario, but if the Broncos like moved on from Von Miller this year, Von Miller moved on from the Broncos, and they're stuck next year, again, quote, stuck, Chubb, Reed, Cooper, you can do worse. You can get by with that. Now you want dominating edge rushers if you can, but I think they'd be okay there in that scenario.
Right. No, you're right. He has been the star of all of preseason above anybody else. And it is just such a cool story to see him go from heart surgery earlier this offseason to star of training camp. And I just wish all the best for that guy to become a true star in the league. But you're right. That heart issue, it's still there. It's still a concern. Anything with the heart and playing football is going to be a major red flag for a lot of teams. And sometimes it works out for you. And I hope this is one of those. Sometimes you run into a Jake Butt where you think, hey, this guy's going to be able to turn this around and get healthy, and it never happens. So that's the risk you have to take, the risk reward that you have to weigh as an evaluator.
Yep, absolutely. Travis coming in here. Also, Travis gave a shout out earlier to our collective. You too, Carl. I'm saying it now. You're now an Iowa Hawkeye fan playing the Indiana Hoosiers this week. It's going to be a tough game. Indiana's a solid program. I really like that Michael Penix Jr. Fun quarterback. But Travis coming in here saying, not a hater at all, but when are we going to finally put actual emphasis on finding our next franchise quarterback? Why do we keep trying to win with average quarterback play? Travis, if I wish I could get a few drinks in George Payton and say, like, what happened here with Justin Fields and Mac Jones and maybe even like trading up for Trey Lance, because I want to hear. I need to hear it. I don't think we're ever going to get a straight answer unless you had those guys, off the record through three sheets to the win kind of thing, which is one thing I'm hoping for Indy this year. Probably not going to get in a room with George Payton drunk, but still, you might hear some whispers there in that scenario. But I don't know. I mean, the Broncos tried this season to go get Stafford. They were very interested in Rodgers. It sounded like they were interested in Deshaun Watson before the things happened. I think they were also extremely interested in Trey Lance, if that was going to be a possibility. Things fell through. They were comfortable enough with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater while also getting a player that they view as a no doubt like Pro Bowl player, maybe potentially all pro in Patrick Surtain at a very important position. So I don't know, but I do think they have put an emphasis on it. It's just, it has not worked out. And I would say also like drafting Drew Lock 42nd overall, 43 overall was not really putting emphasis on it. But really it was more like this guy's fallen enough. There's enough of a chance that he could hit that. We just might as well take a swing. But it was really just a solid swing. Honestly, anything beyond taking a quarterback in the top 10 is like I hope this works, like type of swing. But like you're taking your buddy who's never golfed the Top Golf for the first time. So it could be bad, but let's keep on going. But thanks for the comment here, Travis. We need to keep on this this 53-man roster.
Oh yeah, we haven't even made it to the defense hardly.
We haven't even made it to the tight ends of the offensive line. Tight ends, Broncos, shock for me, actually. They're keeping Andrew Beck here, fullback tight end. Also keeping Eric Saubert, Drake Bulldog, shout out there to Des Moines. Albert Okwuegbunam, I pronounce it really fast, so I hope I get it right. And Noah Fant, who has been scarily quiet so far in preseason and training camp. I'm hoping for the best there, but we'll see. But there's the tight ends. Any thoughts there? I guess I was talking about Andrew Beck, but I
am a little shocked. Yeah, he doesn't do a whole lot of special teams. He's not a great tight end. Yeah. He's not a great fullback. And so there's just nothing there. Like I'm kind of one of those where I'm going either get a great fullback in there and say, hey, this is what your job's going to be. We're going to have you dominate in the run game, or go get yourself a true tight end and just say, you know what, we're not going to do a whole lot with this fullback position, or go get yourself a guy that's actually good on special teams.
Yeah.
This is one of those, he's the jack of all trades, but master of none. And I mean, it just, that is one I just don't really get for the Broncos.
Yeah. I guess he has some versatility and he plays that niche well, but I don't know. I wish he brought more to special teams, I guess is what I'm going to say. Offensive line, moving on now. Garrett Bowles, Calvin Anderson, Bobby Massey are your tackles. Dalton Reisner, Lloyd Cushenberry, Quinn Miners, Graham Glasgow, and Attain Moody on the interior offensive line. Nothing too shocking there. The Broncos do move on from Cam Fleming. It does sound like they are going to bring him back, though, after you see I guess with Mike Boone and Ojemudia made the team, but likely to go to that short-term IR. Sounds like they'll bring back Cam Fleming and Stevens. Stamar Stevens, is that the correct name? S. Stevens, former Vikings. His first name's escaping me right now off the top of the head. But sounds like, unfortunately, Cam Fleming will be back, hopefully for cheaper, because he was not good. But really no shocking here. I guess I'm hoping that Austin Schlottman makes it to the practice squad because he's been solid. He's just like right on the precipice, right, of being a guy who's good enough to make it. And I'd love to have him on the practice squad in case there's an injury where you can pull him up, especially with the guard center experience that he has.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if he was grabbed, though.
Yeah, I mean, most teams are pretty thin at offensive line. You try to look at the teams that have great offensive lines and just hope that maybe they're going to have to cut somebody that is good. But for the most part, you don't see a lot of those guys get picked up just because beyond the starters, you just don't have a whole lot. It's a very thin position in the NFL. It's hard to find quality guys, especially even just 1 through 5, let alone 1 through 8. And yeah, Shamar Stevens is the guy there. I really thought he would make the roster over Jonathan Harris. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's had a great preseason so far, Shamar Stevens, but maybe they thought there was a better chance of him making it through waivers and being able to come back. A little bit of money. Yeah. All those kind of things factor into it. It's amazing how many things go into all these decisions beyond just, are you a good player or you're not?
Yep. I think Stevens will be back, but I think they saved cash and can bring him on back for less than what he was going to make. Same with Cam Fleming. So that makes a difference. And also want to shout out, thank you for getting it right for me, Nazardine. I also saw your comments about Justin Strnad. We're going to get to the linebackers. I was holding on to it, and we just have had such good conversations that, and hello, Andrew, Evine, hope everyone's having a wonderful day. I am having a wonderful day. Saw the Pacific Ocean today, this morning. It was great. Yeah, no, that's, we'll get to the linebackers here in a second. Interior defensive line, you talked about it here. Shelby Harris, Draymond Jones, Deshaun Williams. Shout out to Deshaun Williams. I think he spoke today or yesterday. Seems like a great guy as well. So pulling for him. Mike Purcell, McTelvin Najim, Jonathan Harris. I am surprised Jonathan Harris made it. That is a position where I know it's the very bottom of the roster, but Jonathan Harris really did not stand out to me, I guess, in the games where I watch. I mean, I'm watching for McTelvin Najim or Shamar Stevens or Deshaun Williams in those reps a lot of times, but I guess I was shocked with Jonathan Harris. I feel like he's probably one of the first to go if there is a somebody who comes available. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It just never impressed me.
Yeah. I mean, didn't he play for the Bears?
I think so.
With Vic Fangio? So maybe there's just part of that familiarity side of things that makes it where he wants to keep him around, knows his scheme really well. And Richie Rich, really appreciate that. Always good to see you in here, man. And Butch coming in here with some stars. You are a star yourself, so we thank you so much for that. Yeah. And if you have any questions, let us know there, Butch. We'll definitely answer them for you. But we got Rich coming in asking the question, our inside defensive line did not get pressure this preseason. I am concerned. Nick, options. Carl, options.
I thought Draymond Jones looked really well. And he got pressure when he was out there. Shelby Harris did not get as much pressure as you'd hope, but I'm curious how much of it was Shelby Harris, executing out there and not going. It's not that he's not going 100%, but playing conservative in that regard, because do I want Shelby Harris going full and putting himself, exposing himself to a potential injury, like leaning himself too far or something? No, I do not. So once the reps are live, and I also think we're going to be really able to feel good about this offensive or the defensive line after the Giants game, because I know Daniel Jones has some good mobility, but that Giants offensive line looks terrible. They took Andrew Thomas 3 overall, and the next 3 guys look like they're going to be
stars,
all pros at some point in their chance in their career, with Mekhi Becton, Tristan Wirfs, and Jedrick Wills. So Giants going to giant, right? But I think it's a solid interior defensive line. I do think that this is a dark horse for the Broncos to use a first-round pick next year. Maybe somebody who has some inside-outside ability too, like a Lamarvin Neal, I think the name's sticking out to me, the Texas A&M guy, who's like 6'4", 290, and maybe somebody like George Karlaftis, who is 6'4", 275. But that's an interesting one to see as well. And we have coming in here from Clifton Harris, cut Jonathan Harris, signed Geno Atkins. I don't think, based on how Vic Fangio uses the defensive line, that Harris or Atkins is a great fit. He's looking for those guys to play 2 gaps. They were going to press on 1 gap, be able to pull back and play the other gap. Right, and Geno Atkins is older, injured, and he's very much a gap shooting type of player. So I don't know if he's actually that good of a fit schematically. But any thoughts here on the defensive line? The things you're excited to see? Maybe obviously we are both kind of interested to see Jonathan Harris make it over Shamar Stevens, but it sounds like Mike Klis said that Stevens is likely going to be back. Same with Cameron Fleming.
Yeah, no, I like this group. I am not that worried about them. Everything was very vanilla with their defensive scheme. I mean, they were pretty much playing their bend, don't break. And I think once they actually start mixing in what they actually want to do and they get some of those specialty calls, you're going to start seeing some of those inside defensive linemen really start to shine, because it's one of those that's kind of interesting. in Fangio's defense, those guys actually have a chance to shine sometimes more than the outside guys. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, the Broncos are still loaded on the outside, and Vaughn and Chubb will do their thing, but the inside guys are going to have some major chances to get some plays, and I think they will. So, like I said, against the Giants, they're going to eat. It's going to be – I remember one of the games I watched of Daniel Jones in college when he played against Clemson and got destroyed and spent the entire game on his back. I think you're going to see a lot of that, and he's going to be pretty frustrated by the end of that game. I
agree. I think first team to 20 points wins. Also, the first team to 2 turnovers probably loses. So double-sided coin there, as all coins are, I guess. Linebacker coming in here. We have on this, I'm pulling from the Denver Post here, so they have all the linebackers clumped together. So this includes edge rusher and off-ball linebacker. But Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, no shock here. Malik Reed, Jonathan Cooper, and Andre Mintz, who I was shocked to see make the team. He did not stand out that much to me, but I think he's one that, like we talked about earlier, they keep him on the 53 now, and then maybe subject him to waivers later where he's more likely to get through and go to the practice squad, but maybe they'll just keep him. I don't know. I thought he looked definitely better than Derek Tuska did. So happy to see Andre Mintz make it, and the Broncos keep their undrafted free agent streak alive. I think it was 17 of the last 18 years an undrafted free agent has made the team in their rookie season. So pretty impressive streak there. That's pretty awesome. For the off-ball linebackers, got Josie Jewell, Alexander Johnson, Justin Strnad, Baron Browning, who I thought looked pretty good in the Rams game. And you can see such an athlete. I'm excited to see him out there. I think he could be a special teams ace in the hole too that we haven't seen much of yet. And Jonas Griffin, who the Broncos acquired acquired from the San Francisco 49ers, and I think he was a top 10 graded special teams player in preseason. How much does that mean? I don't know, but the Broncos obviously saw something that they liked there and thought enough to trade for him, not even subject him to waivers. So hopefully that'll be good.
Yeah, and Travis, to answer your question, that is the big thing, special teams and big-time athlete. I think he had an RAS score of like 9.85 for linebacker. So,
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It's really high. It's in the green. It's what you like to see. And so the Broncos see at least a little bit of upside with the guy. He's got size. He's got weight. He's got power. He's got aggression. He's got a lot of things you like at the linebacker position. And so I like that addition. And like I said, just being able to help with special teams, get that guy that's not afraid just to go destroy people.
Yep.
Like that's something the Broncos just don't have. They don't have that attitude guy on this team. I know some people have been commenting about Jano and the Broncos trading him away. And I didn't mind the trade at the time just because he spent half his time injured because he was so aggressive. Sometimes he just didn't have the body to hold up. But you did love him on special teams, just running down there and just destroying a pile of people. And just, does he have swag? Of course, lots and lots of swag. That's what this guy brings to the table for the Broncos this year.
Absolutely. Cornerbacks, Broncos keeping 6 for now. Nothing too shocking. However, Michael Ojemudia is going to end up on short-term IR, but Michael Ojemudia makes the team playing well. He's going to be kept on. He might be a starter next year for this team at cornerback. Ronald Darby, Kyle Fuller, Patrick Surtain II, Bryce Callahan, and Kerry Vincent Jr. makes the team, who I'm happy about. He was very talented. Obviously opted out this last year at LSU. There was some maturity questions for him, I believe, as well. I think it was Lance Zierlein talked about that some in the offseason. That's where I picked that up from. So I didn't don't blame me if I'm misquoting that. I think I got that from Lance. But he's one that I'm interested in. I told Nazardine that we'd get to it. Strnad ready. I think Strnad's the first guy off the bench. I think that Josie Jewell looked really good in that Rams game, I thought. So I think it's going to be Alexander Johnson and Josie Jewell will be your starting linebackers, but probably somebody's going to get hurt or somebody's going to struggle, and you'll see Strnad get a chance. But Strnad's probably in the plans. If he's not at the first guy off the bench right now, he is very likely a starting linebacker next year for this team with Jewell and Alexander Johnson set to be free agents.
I honestly would not mind if they went to their dime and put Strnad out there as their one linebacker.
You trust him to get in the checks? You think he's the guy that can wear the green dot? Because he has to be in that sense.
That's true. That's true. I guess that would have to be the case. But I liked what I saw in the preseason. I liked his ability to change direction, actually go chase guys down in the pass game and the run game. I liked his aggression. There's just not a lot that I didn't like that he showed on the field. And I think on a lot of teams, honestly, I think a lot of teams would have him as a starter this year. That's how bad linebacker is around the league.
How average? I don't know if it's bad, but there's just a lot of dudes.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudes. So I do think he'd start for maybe 10 teams in the league right now. And it's the nice thing the Broncos have, where they've got him possibly. They got Baron Browning. That's going to be a guy that we're hoping can really develop into something. So it's a nice position. I know some people, when you asked that question earlier of what position are you most worried about now other than quarterback, I saw some people saying linebacker. I'm not that worried about it because the two starters are average to above average starters. Mm-hmm. And then you got two guys with great promise below them. So I like the starters and I like the depth guys.
Yeah. I feel like the linebacker group for Denver has an extremely high floor. Like an extremely high floor. So not too worried about them. Do they have a true difference maker at the linebacking position? No, but there aren't. It's like the tight end position, right? It's very much the antithesis of the tight end. There are like three dudes in the NFL who are like true difference makers in Kittle, Kelsey, and Waller. A bunch of them are just like, they're solid. They're good. They go invisible in many games. They're not really an identifying piece for the offense. Same with linebacker right now. So keeping on now, the cornerbacks, though, like I said, any surprises there? I guess Nate Hairston Jr., he had a good camp. He might be going to the practice squad. I think he played at Temple, if I remember right from my scouting, putting on the scouting hat. I remember Nate Hairston Jr. But I thought he was a little bit of a surprise not making the team, but I'm glad they went with Kerry Vincent Jr. instead of him. I would not be shocked if Hairston made it back to the squad, though, because he looked
right. I think, to be honest, I think that was the separator. Which one do we think stands a better chance to get back on the practice squad? Kerry Vincent played on that LSU team that won a national championship, has name recognition.
He flashed too. He's good.
Yeah,
athlete.
Flashed. Yeah, great athlete. I mean, that's what I loved watching in this preseason is nobody was running by him. Even if he took a false step, you weren't actually getting by him. Yep. There's not many players that actually have that kind of gear. Like everybody is a great athlete when they get to the NFL. Yep. He still has that extra gear that some other guys just don't have. And so I'm glad that they kept him because, like I said, I do think there's a good chance somebody else would try to take him up. Hairston.
He's the Bryce Callahan replacement.
Right, he is. And Hairston, like I said, he's had a great training camp, has had great preseason. I just think name matters, unfortunately. Yeah. It just really does. And so I think they're hoping he can get back because I do think they really like him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree with you. Keep it on here. The last position, I guess, besides the specialist, safeties. Everybody who I hoped would make it did make it. Broncos kept both rookies and Caden Stearns and Jamar Johnson. PJ Locke, who looked great all camp, made the team. Broncos move on from Trey Marshall and obviously Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson. Really curious to see. Obviously, it's going to be a Kareem Jackson show this year, but these three guys behind him show out in special teams. But you guys are definitely all in line to be a chance at a starter in 2022. All of them. I really do think that.
Yeah. I don't really see safety as a need next year. I do think one of those guys is going to emerge and become something. And I think the Broncos can continue to have one of the best safety tandems in the league moving forward. I mean, a big part just because Justin Simmons is that good. Yep. But I do think even Caden Stearns could become a better player than what Kareem Jackson is right now. Yep. I mean, he was flying all over the field, making plays, making hits. Just got to clean up a few things that'll come with a little bit more time just being in the league and knowing the defense. But that is a bright position for the future.
I think we do have matching hats, Carl.
Ooh, look at that.
What's going on here? But that's definitely right there. I'd agree with you on that one. We have a question or a comment coming in from Niles Kallenbach saying, why does it feel like they are building around special teams when all they need to do is fire their coach? Tom sucks. It's because this team is going for success this season, and without a franchise quarterback, their margin for error and how they want to win is smaller. And I've been used to it for years watching the Iowa Hawkeyes. You cannot lose in special teams and expect to win. It's also you cannot be the team that's losing the penalty battle too. You have to out execute, and also field position matters. So they're going for it this year. Maybe Tom McMahon sucks. Maybe he's been bad for this team as a coach. But if these guys are going to protect their job this year, and also it's something that's pretty cheap to improve also relative to other spots. So going out there, improving the special teams, and hopefully minimizing that margin for error or making sure that error bar is over to the left with the special teams here, because they have been bad, and you can go out there and get some players that can help you there at this time of year every single season. But thanks for your comment, Niles. Don't recognize you.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
So do you know where PFF has the Broncos offense rated for the preseason games this year?
Oh, like how they did output wise?
Yeah. Like just overall grade for their offense.
They had the number 1 pass blocking against the Vikings. I think they scored pretty highly there. I'm going to say they're 9th.
4th.
Okay. Well,
do you know what they have the defense rated?
1st.
Yes. Do you know what they have special
32?
teams?
Is it 32?
No, it's 28.
Okay.
Close enough. I mean, but it just shows you got a promising offense that has some weapons. Offensive line has some promising steps that they're taking. Yeah. Defense obviously looks like they could be very dominant and deep. And then you got the special teams unit that just, like I said, it could just be the weight, the anchor that just drags this team to the bottom of the ocean this season. And that's unfortunate. You know, it's nice to finally feel good about both the offense and defense for the most part. I mean, the offense is a little still questionable on some things, but you still like a lot of the pieces they have. Special teams, it's just very frustrating to see that. And it's hard because they also have 2 pretty good special teams players of Sam Martin's not the worst punter in the league, and Brandon McManus, he's a good kicker out there. And yet your special teams still stinks. So it's my biggest worry heading into the season. Probably even more, a little bit more than quarterback, because I do trust Teddy probably more than some. And I think he can at least get enough done, but he can't overcome a bad special teams play that really puts the team in the hole. Yeah.
Teddy is like, how do I put it? I don't want to put anybody down too much, but it's, you go to a restaurant and they just have like, an okay burger, right? It's fine. You're going to be safe with it. It's fine. You've had it before, but it's not going to blow your socks off. But at least it's going to be consistent in that regard, and what you're getting. But special teams right now, not very good. And the specialists, speaking of special teams, Brandon McManus, Sam Martin, and Jacob Bobenmoyer, I believe is pronunciation there. Bobenmoyer, long snapper. So there it goes. We got Barack Nasi coming in here with a $5 super chat over on YouTube. Probably the last one, unless we get somebody coming in the buzzer here. But he says, hey, Cam Newton is free. Is there any special quarterbacks in college we should try to get? So Cam Newton is free. We talked about it earlier. Sounds like part of it had to do with things going on in the world and preventative measures that he sounds like he hasn't gotten. And that could be dangerous to a team that's trying to win football games because it leads to, there's obviously different outcomes for if you have received a preventive measure or not. And it might keep him out there on the free agent market for a bit. So he is free, but what does that mean? Who knows? We'll see. And is there any special quarterbacks in college we should try to get? A little early for that. Carl, we've talked about some of them. Do you have any names that you want to throw out? Obviously, we talked Malik Willis, Liberty, Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma. I think you can probably take him off unless you have number 1 overall. Probably not Willis. We talked about Carson Strong earlier. Desmond Ridder, some people in here are big fans of him. Is there anybody else that comes to mind? Phil Jekov, the Boston College quarterback who transferred from Notre Dame. He's one who sticks out as well as some people like. I'm not the biggest fan. But anybody else? Sam Howell, also another one who I think I'm honestly not that big on Sam Howell. I think he's fine, but I'm not huge on him. Anyone else?
Matt Corral.
Oh yes, I forget about him.
Yeah, he's another one that could really rise up the board this year. What's the name of the guy down in Florida that hasn't started, but everybody's really excited about?
Emery Jones.
Emery Jones. There you go.
There's one. I'm seeing a couple more in the chat here. Jayden Daniels from Michael Ronquillo. That's one. If Jayden Daniels can put on 30 pounds, I'm interested. He's just so skinny. It's like scary. He's so slender. Keaton Slovis, he's one who's solid. I'm not the biggest fan of his overall talent, but like he could Mac Jones his way to being a really good quarterback. Another guy who I think is kind of under the radar that could emerge this year is Graham Mertz from Wisconsin. I think he was a 4-star recruit, and because of how weird last year was with the Big Ten, he like flashed a lot, but it was really inconsistent. So he's another one that I would look out for as well. But Emery Jones and Mertz are 2 good names to watch out for. And we'll see. Where are the Broncos picking? How does the class pan out? Is Aaron Rodgers available? Are the Broncos interested in like a Matt Ryan or a Kirk Cousins to get a more veteran team that you have a good defense already, so you just think if you get from average quarterback play to above average, that makes you a Super Bowl contender. Could be. I mean, we have a long way to go before that. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater kills it. Maybe Drew Lock comes in and it's amazing and he's the franchise quarterback. We don't know. All these things are possible. They could happen. I'm telling you, there's a chance. Yeah, Carl, any thoughts before we get on out of here? And thank you, everybody who joined us today with the stars. Hopefully, Boss Man will pull up the stars again so we can get a read on them before we get on out of here. But any thoughts on the roster, Carl? Anybody who really stood out, shocking to you? And I also want to give a shout out to Trinity Benson. Thank you very much for the late round draft pick. And good luck in Detroit. Goff, not my favorite quarterback, but he can get you the ball. So I'm pulling for Trinity Benson out there wearing those Hawaiian blues in Detroit.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of interested to see how they use Saubert. Yeah. Just being the third tight end. He got a lot of work here in the preseason and showed up really well, both in the run and pass game. And I want to see what they do with him. Like I said, Noah Fant hasn't really done a whole lot. Okwebanam, there we go. I'll go ahead and say it. He's had a couple plays here and there. They kind of got him involved in this last game, just trying to get him warmed up for the season. But Saubert's been the tight end that shined. And he's built a little bit of connection there with Teddy, obviously. Yeah, shine. And so I just want to see if they're going to have kind of some plays built in for him. I'm interested to see the formations that they decide to go into for the regular season, just because you got playmakers at tight end, you got playmakers at wide receiver, you got playmakers at running back. You got them all over the place. I just want to see how they're going to mix and match all those groups and just get all those players involved this year.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm here. Sorry, you froze there for a second. It was probably my internet. And I want to answer Iron Man KM. Say, Kirk Cousins, are you serious? Literally just throwing stuff at the wall. Who's a quarterback, who's a veteran quarterback, who has a connection to the Broncos, whose contract makes it where he could be on the move. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm waiting to see. I thought Kirk Cousins was actually pretty good last year. But is he an amazing quarterback? No. But
yeah,
that's where we are, guys. That's where we are.
This is my concern with George Payton. Vikings never got the quarterback position figured out. Not that they didn't try. They used a couple first-round picks on quarterbacks. They traded a first-round pick for a quarterback. Obviously paid Kirk Cousins big money. But a lot of the guys that they brought in, pretty mediocre names. And they just kind of seem to have this idea of let's surround a mediocre quarterback with a great roster.
Competent enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm with Clifton here. Matty Ice over Cousins, 100%. I'm with you there. But it's a possibility right now. We'll have to pivot. We'll judge based on that point. Like I said, there's a reality out there where Teddy Bridgewater is awesome this year, and we're like, you know what? We're gonna roll with Teddy. We're gonna pay him $20 million a year, and God bless Teddy. If he's wanting any more than that, I don't know about that. Case Keenum 2.0, very possible, David, very possible, but we'll see. Guys, that's gonna have to do it for us. We got to get on out of here. We got stuff to do. We got family in town. Carl, I know, he's got to start packing, getting all his ducks in a row. I know he's a busy man as well. That's Broncos for Breakfast. I will be here again next Tuesday. We'll see who's joining me as the co-host. We'll keep that close to the vest for now. Gotta make some phone calls, make sure it's all good there. But building the Broncos, you guys can follow Carl and myself on Twitter. Carl at Carl Dumler MHH, and myself at Nick Kendell MHH. Also follow us at BTB Football Pod and at Mile High Huddle. If you guys are joining us on Facebook today, also make sure you click a thumbs up, a like react. I see we got a wow coming in from Tim Durr. Tim likes to leave the random reaction, so I always love that from Tim. If you guys are, after you click the thumbs up, heart react, care emoji, whatever it is, make sure you go over to facebook.com/Mile High Huddle, become a supporter, as well as go to facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. If you guys are joining us on YouTube today, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. And also shout out to everybody who's getting in the stars, getting a chance to win that Von Miller jersey, as well as a secret special Mile High Huddle little gift incentive there. So get those stars in, and once we get to that 500,000, we'll be making some moves. And Carl, we'll see you in a bit, guys. I will see you tomorrow morning for a special Wednesday morning episode of Broncos for Breakfast at 7:30 Mountain Time. And Jay Roper, yep, what's wrong with no Broncos for Breakfast? Getting off? We're getting off. We gotta go. But I will see you guys tomorrow. And Carl, we'll see you soon. I'm gonna miss you, bud. Stay safe.
I'm gonna miss you too. Thanks.
Hopefully nothing too exciting happens while you're gone, but I'm hoping that we have some positivity to talk about when you get here.
That would be really nice. I'm hoping the season isn't over before I get back.
That won't happen. we're gonna manifest greatness this year. So everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see Carl later on. We'll TBD. Thanks everyone for joining the conversation. Thank you guys also for just being great in the chat. I've seen some other social media surrounding the Broncos, and it can get pretty toxic. But you guys, it's all love. It's good vibes in here. Everyone have a good night, and go Broncos.